What is going on with my boy Canelo? We gotta have a conversation about this. Let's talk about what we saw last night because I want to tell you something. A lot of people are making fun of Canelo right now. A lot of people are saying some very harsh things about him. They're calling him a quitter. And if you listen to some people, they'll say he never tapped, so he never quit. But there's a lot more to the story here, my friends. There's a lot more to the story. So let's start from the beginning and see exactly what happened to Canelo Alvarez. The first thing that I noticed right away was the size difference. When these two fighters stepped into the ring, I could not believe how much bigger Terence Crawford was than Canelo Alvarez. Now, don't get me wrong, Canelo is no small fighter. He's actually pretty big for the super middleweight division. But standing next to Crawford, man, it looked like David and Goliath all over again. Now, don't know if this has anything to do with it, but Canelo did come up and fight at a catch weight of 168 pounds. And I also noticed that he seemed to be having some serious problems with his mouthpiece. In fact, he kept popping it back into his mouth during the fight. I don't know if that affected him mentally, or if that affected his breathing and his stamina. But once again, just something I wanted to point out. Now, from the opening bell, it was pretty clear that this fight would not go the distance. Why? Because from the opening bell, Terence Crawford was snapping Canelo's head back with those lightning jabs. And this is something that I predicted in our preview video. I said Canelo would have trouble dealing with the jab of Terence Crawford. And it looks like I was correct with that prediction. Those jabs from Crawford were just too fast and too accurate for Canelo. And honestly, he never adjusted to them. Not only that, but Crawford was coming downstairs with those lead left hooks, dropping Canelo's hands and setting up those powerful upper. By the time round 2 came around, Canelo's face was already swollen. His right eye was already closing up. And let me tell you something. I've seen many fighters with bad eyes before. It happens quite often in boxing, but this was one of the worst cases of a fighter with a bad eye that I've seen in a long time. That right eye was almost completely closed by the end of round 2. And then round 3 came around and it just got worse for Canelo. But here's where things take a turn. Here's where the tide started to shift. And honestly, I was shocked at what I saw. As I watched Canelo in that 3rd round, I saw him swing for the hills with everything he had. I saw him letting his hands go, trying to put something together, trying to hurt Terence Crawford. And that surprised me because we're so used to seeing Canelo use that jab, move his feet and box behind that jab. But last night, I saw him trying to brawl with Terence Crawford. And that's when things started to get bad. You have to remember that Terence Crawford is an exceptional boxer. He's southpaw. He switches stances. He can make you miss, and then he can punish you. And that's exactly what he did to Canelo in that 3rd round. Every time Canelo would let his hands go, thinking he could knock Crawford out, he would miss, and then Crawford would counterpunch him with those uppercuts and straight rights. And that just made Canelo's eye even worse. And Canelo just kept getting more and more frustrated. And by the 5th round, it was just brutal. Crawford was rocking Canelo. He had him hurt badly, and he kept peppering him with punches. Just as the bell was ringing, Canelo stumbled back to his corner. Now, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to make any assumptions, but I think Canelo's vision was seriously affected by that point. Remember, I'm no doctor, but I'm just telling you what I saw. And I'm going to tell you right now, no fighter should ever have to deal with that kind of punishment if their vision is already impaired. That is something that needs to be protected. The welfare of the fighter needs to be taken care of. And I understand the MGM Grand, the promoters, the trainers, none of them want to stop the fight. They want to keep this fight going. This is a mega event. There's a ton of money on the line. Trust me, they don't want to stop the fight. But if the fighter's vision is affected, they have to stop the fight. If the fighter cannot see, they have to stop the fight. It doesn't matter what's on the line. That fighter's safety needs to come first. And I'm not blaming anyone here. I'm just saying the reality of the situation. By the 6th round, it was brutal. Canelo sat down on the stool. His trainer was waving the fight off. And right now, people are saying, oh, he quit. He sat down on the stool. He didn't want it anymore. No! My friends, that's not what happened. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened because I could see it in Canelo's eyes. And if you look closely, you'll see it too. Canelo was devastated. Devastated. He was heartbroken. I've seen that look in the eyes of fighters before. In fact, I've felt that way myself as a fighter before. It's that look of defeat. It's that feeling of defeat. I could see that Canelo was crying inside. He was trying to keep it together, but you could tell that he was defeated. And he was also afraid. Afraid to continue fighting. And let me tell you something. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with being afraid. In fact, if you're ever fighting and you're not afraid, that means you're not really in the fight. You're not really trying to win. So yes, Canelo was afraid. He was afraid to continue fighting because he couldn't see. And I would be lying if I said I didn't feel bad for him because I've been in that position before. So please don't ever say that. Canelo quit. He never quit. He fought valiantly. He fought like a true warrior until he couldn't fight anymore. And I respect that. But I'm going to tell you something else, too. I was also impressed by Terrence Crawford. I got to give him his props. He fought a great fight. He dominated Canelo Alvarez. And I gotta be honest with you, I was impressed with what I saw from him. Yes, I think he was the better fighter on the night, and I think he proved that to everybody. But I'm also gonna tell you, I still think Canelo Alvarez is one of the best fighters in the world. And I think he still has a bright future ahead of him. This loss doesn't define him. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I've seen him bounce back before. I've seen him lose fights and then come back and win world titles. He's done it multiple times in his career. So, I'm not counting him out just yet. I still think he has a lot of great fights left in him, and I think he can come back from this loss. But he's going to have to take some time to heal, both physically and mentally. Because I can tell you right now, this was a devastating loss for Canelo Alvarez. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Hey, you made it to this point in the video. Do not forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you think about what happened to Canelo. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'll see ya in the next one.